Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on contextualizing cage-free corporate campaigns in Zambia. There are 83 organizations working on farmed animal advocacy in Africa. One out of these organizations, and the first one in Zambia, is Lumera. Our speaker for this session is Mbamu Chama. She is the founder and director of Lumera. Mbamu has an academic background in economics and management and also experience with consulting across Europe and Africa. She also did sustainability consulting before pivoting to farmed animal advocacy through the Animal Advocacy Africa program, after which she founded Lumera. Animal Advocacy Africa is an organization that supports and strengthens the animal advocacy movement across the African continent. Lumera is an organization focused on corporate cage-free campaigns. They aim to reduce the suffering of caged egg-laying hens by targeting key corporations for cage-free commitment. Mbamu is also engaged in community building as she recently co-founded Effective Altruism Zambia, the first EA group in the country. This session will include a 2-minute Q&A after the talk, so please send your questions through Swapcard. Just open the session on the app and click the speech bubble to submit your question. Please join me in welcoming Mbamu Chama.
Hello, everyone. So thank you so much. In the next few minutes, I'm just going to share a few reflections on the work that we have been doing over at Lumera. So just as Israel mentioned, Lumera is very new. So we have only been in existence for 3 months so far. And our chosen intervention through the Animal Advocacy Africa program is cage-free work. So cage-free campaigns globally have been hailed as a very cost-effective intervention, even by organizations like animal charity evaluators. So they have seen over 2,000 companies make cage-free commitments, and over the years, this has resulted in improvement in the lives of hundreds of millions of egg-laying hens. In 2024 only, we can see that about 3 million egg-laying hens had their lives improved when they were freed from the cruelty of these cramped cages. And obviously, you can find more information about this on the Open Wing Alliance website and resources, as well as organizations that are working on cage-free individually. Now, as exciting as all of these wins have been, they've been very concentrated to the global north. And we have an exception there for South Africa, which is slightly different from other African countries. Even if this is the case, there is a huge increase in egg production in African countries. So what this means is that with this increase, there is a pivot or a shift towards more industrialized systems, including cages. So this gives us an opportunity and a challenge as Lumera to sort of learn from organizations, which I personally love, like Global Food Partners, that have shown that utilizing or taking into account the local context, local challenges, and supply chain structures can be very high impact or highly effective in doing cage-free work, as opposed to copying and pasting what has worked in Western countries. So as Lumera, we have sort of seen ourselves as ecosystem builders in the first 3 months, because just as Israel mentioned in the intro, we are the first organization focused on farmed animal welfare in the country. So we are doing corporate outreach the traditional way, but also with a small twist, as we will share in the next few minutes, as well as direct farmer outreach. So our work is primarily two-pronged. So with the corporate outreach, we have tried to reach out to individual corporations, just as your usual cage-free campaigner does. This has been less promising because we haven't received a lot of feedback or promising results from these corporations. But these conversations that we've had with them have given us some early insights to feed into our work going forward. And one of the things that we've done is to leverage partnerships as we engage with the corporations further. And the second route is farmer outreach, just like I mentioned before. So we are engaging directly with farmers that are doing poultry farming and leveraging organizations like the Poultry Association of Zambia. So one of our key partners has been the CSR network in Zambia, and these have a body of corporations that they work with. So as opposed to us going there as a small organization and trying to negotiate with the corporations, we can engage with them through this body that they already have trust and relationships with. And then we can have the conversation about transitioning to cage-free. So there's a lot of pushback, but CSR has been one of the levers that looks particularly promising in Zambia, where we don't have any regulatory framework or any other incentives for corporations to make this transition. Okay, there's a bit of an issue with the formatting, but on the farmer side, we have reached out to agriculture and cooperatives. So this is an organization that builds capacity of farmers and farming communities, and they also host annual farmer awards. So through our partnership, we have launched the first welfare award, and through this, we're sort of pulling in farmers that are interested in transitioning to higher welfare practices, as well as improving their current welfare practices. So that's pretty much it for Lumera. I do hope that we have more farmed animal welfare advocates coming out of conferences like this one, more collaboration and knowledge sharing, and more research that is contextualized to our context in Africa, as mentioned in the previous session. And I hope that we can be daring and bold to take innovative approaches and not just copy and paste what is already being done in Western countries, but see how we can utilize our own innovations to advance the welfare of farmed animals in Africa. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much, Mbamu, for that insightful talk. We'll now move into the Q&A portion. Told us Lumera just started 3 months ago. So I think the first question on the list is, where do you see Lumera in the next 3 years?
That's a very good question. Hopefully Lumera, although this doesn't directly answer, hopefully it won't be the only organization doing farmed animal welfare work in Zambia. But we do hope that we would have achieved some wins for the egg-laying hens, and also just done or made progress in terms of spreading this message of farmed animal welfare in Zambia, and taken strides towards building out that ecosystem and raising awareness.
Okay, thank you. Second question, and just to reiterate, you can still submit your questions through Swapcard. Thank you. Second question. Has Lumera worked with other farmed animal advocacy initiatives outside Zambia?
So we have a body of advisors who are primarily from other farmed animal welfare organizations. So our work with them has been from an advisory perspective, just because we are just starting. So we're leaning heavily on the learnings and the experience of other advocates and organizations outside of Zambia. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So, just a continuation of that question. How does Lumera plan on scaling its outreach to cover the whole Africa?
I think we wouldn't like to duplicate efforts in spaces where this work is already being done. I think what we look forward to doing is collaborating with people who are engaged in this work and sharing learnings and strategies and how we can all collectively do this work, because the Open Wing Alliance does have a collective of organizations that are doing cage-free work. So we hope that we can eventually, potentially join that alliance of organizations and work together with them to push this work.
Okay, I think this has been a very encouraging session for farmed animal advocacy startups. One more question. What are the challenges you have encountered in advocating for animal welfare? Are there stifling policies?
Not necessarily. I think the challenge would actually be the lack of policies and a regulatory framework. Like I mentioned, we are quite early or quite new to this space in Zambia, and we are the first ones. So we are finding that there's lack of infrastructure that supports our work. As I mentioned before, there's no regulation that you can point to as you negotiate with corporations, for example. So there's very low incentives for people to embark on higher welfare farming practices.
Okay, that's all we have time for in this session. Thank you again, Mbamu. Let's give Mbamu a round of applause. So next on the agenda is the closing session here at this hall by 5 p.m. Kindly check your swap card for more details. Thank you.